Yeah, welcome back to Game Devs Games.
Why are you laughing?
'Cause your face.
Oh, welcome back, everybody.
It is quite humorous.
So, I think I've learned something too, Joe.
What?
And it's very important.
What, that random pieces of furniture have demon orbs?
That is pretty important too, actually, because why are those demon orbs there?
Yeah. But continue.
I have discovered that I've leveled up my tolerance to spicy foods.
Oh, really?
Nathan would be proud.
Yeah.
So in between episodes, we were eating some Thai food.
Oh, so good.
And I took my leftover white rice and I just dumped a bunch of hot sauce in it. And I was like, "Oh, that was too much. Well, here it goes."
Yeah, do it.
And I ate it and I enjoyed the entire thing.
Oh.
That's my story.
What? Oh, wait.
Oh shit! Are they on our side now?
Sort of. Enemy of my enemy thing?
But wait, we didn't communicate with them.
Nope.
So
Wait, what the hell? Oh, new enemy type. That's what this is for. It's a souped-up version of the Lancer guys. So it's basically like fighting...
the guy that you just fought?
Yeah, a lukewarm version of Credo.
That's interesting. So, I mean, I guess I'll see how he fights, but it looks like he'll fight the same. But, oh wow.
Yeah, not intimidating or anything. Oh.
No, that was actually a really cool moment, though. That was well scripted. Them moving in unison like that was actually, that was really intense. And it was so subtle, too. So, actually, I find that moment incredibly interesting because that was after the cutscene had already ended. So you would think at that point you wouldn't have any kind of really wow moments, but that was a really good one.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that you would expect to see in the cutscene. So I appreciate that. That was actually really clever.
Whoa. A German suplex and a drop kick.
Oh, jeez.
Alright, cool. This game knows me.
So I find them using this enemy type interesting because we just fought a boss that fought with that style. So now that we're fighting goons that use that style, it feels like it cheapens the boss fight that you just had. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. It seems like a not as okay use of reusing content, because that's literally what it is they're reusing the animations that they built for the other guy. And that's really easy to do because in games like this, you model a bunch of characters along a similar bone structure, so you can just pair an animation with any of them and it should work, with maybe minor tweaks here and there. So it's a really intelligent way to reuse assets. It's basically a color swap, except much better because you're just swapping skins instead of color.
Yeah.
So they did that, except now suddenly the boss battle doesn't quite feel like a boss battle and more of just a harder version of the goon fight. I don't know. I feel like boss battles should always feel unique and challenging.
Well, but it did,
all in itself. It did, but now in retrospect, it feels less so. So
to a point, I agree with you. Yeah, by having an enemy that has a similar style to the boss we just fought, yeah, there are some similarities. But at the end of the day, none of them are nearly as agile as he was.
No,
none of them are gonna. It's not like a palette swap knight like sort of the other guy was. And also, tactics-wise, the enemy or the boss behaved entirely different.
But the thing is, we already figured out how to beat the boss, so shouldn't fighting the goons be that much easier? It feels like I'd actually almost have less issues with it, kind of backpedaling on what I said about bosses feeling unique. I'd actually feel a little bit less annoyed with it had we fought those sword guys before we fought that boss.
Gotcha.
Because at least with that line of thinking, we had been trained to fight that boss.
That makes sense.
Which would be pretty typical of a lot of games. I guess this game doesn't have stuff like that quite as much, but that's a very Zelda thing, right?
Yeah.
Things that
lasers.
Teach you. Lasers. Real lasers. Wow.
Oh.
What the hell?
How's that
going for you, buddy?
It's going fine.
This is a pretty good example, though, of how depth perception is very tough in any game that doesn't use virtual reality. Because it's 3D, right? So we have perspective, but it still is really hard to actually judge the depth.
Yeah, that's true.
And with a horizontal line going across the ground like that, it's especially difficult to estimate where exactly it is. That's why 3D platformer games are always just very, very tough to deal with.
Yeah. I don't know. Super Mario's 3D World. I almost said Sunshine. Fuck that game.
Super Mario 3D World is still pretty tough, though.
Oh, it is. It is.
Like, don't get me wrong, 3D platformer games still work, but you have to have very, very good designers to make it not super frustrating.
Yeah.
At least that's my opinion as far as design goes. Virtual reality kind of will change that whole realm because then suddenly you have depth perception for everyone that has two eyes.
I don't know how I feel about the whole, like, VR thing that we're going to slowly start getting into. Like, do we need it?
Have you ever... Okay, then let me ask you this. Have you ever used an Oculus Rift?
No.
Then you don't know what you're missing out on.
Fair enough.
While my experiences with it have been very slim, I've only really dabbled in it a little bit. It can be very, very cool.
Okay.
Right. Think of it as in terms of the next graphics enhancement in games.
Okay.
And while obviously it offers a lot more than just graphical enhancements, at this point in the games industry and in game technology, whoa, what is happening?
Space and time, bitch. I'm Doctor Who.
Oh boy!
Oh, wow.
But at this point in game technology, we can't really get our graphics to be any more like detailed or high poly or higher resolution textures. Like, we've kind of maxed out right now, and you know, we're still slowly making progress with a lot of games. Like right now, the big fad is making all games 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Which, you know, cool. If it looks good and it feels good, then great.
Then good.
Then good.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. But
we'll never escape that, will we?
No. But Oculus Rift and other VR systems, they basically changed the world of graphics to where now you get a more what's the word I'm trying to think of? You're in the moment. You're immersed. It's a new level of immersion, and that's the whole point of having higher resolution or higher poly art, right? It increases the feeling of immersion in the game. And while there's a lot of designers out there that hate using the term immersion with games,
right?
I will argue that I think it's silly to be whiny about semantics.
Yeah.
Because, they argue that immersion isn't an accurate term because there's never a point in which you feel as though you're not actually in the game. It's true.
That's true.
You never have, like, this moment where you're not certain whether you're in real life or if you're in the game. So, sure, like, you're not truly ever fully immersed, but it still is a good term to describe what the games are trying to achieve. Yeah. So virtual reality is that next step.
That makes sense.
So I'm excited about it. I really, really want to see how the Oculus Rift, when it's done in development, I want to see how accessible it is. Because if it is very accessible, which was the whole point of Facebook purchasing it, among other things, then it could really become a really important thing in the game industry. But right now, it's just a niche thing. Because it's expensive and not many people have it, nor are a lot of developers developing content for it.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean...
I guess once I have to check it out.
We should get one. They're not even that expensive. I think the version 2 of the Oculus Rift was like $250. Maybe it was more. Maybe that was the version 1. I don't even know if they're on version 3 yet or not, but...
Oh, I'm a smart one.
But yeah, I think we should check it out at some point. I played a goofy little elephant simulation game.
Aww.
At Bit Bash last year, which was actually a blast. Actually,
Was it a bash?
I'll throw a photo up. Look at that. Psh, it's me wearing an elephant mask. And it was a really goofy game, too. But it obviously, it wasn't like it wasn't like a proper elephant simulation. It was like you have a trunk and you just go around slapping everything with your trunk. It's a really funny game. But right now, that's like all the games that people are making for the Oculus Rift.
Yeah,
it's either
to
goofy
test
games,
the functionality.
Right? It's either a really goofy game like that, or it's like a horror game.
Oh yeah.
Which I would totally be down for playing a horror game on the Oculus Rift.
There was one game that I guess is in development where you use the camera on your phone and the flash. So like your camera and the flash are consistently on, but the only way you see ghosts and get through stuff is by going through your house.
Oh,
and stuff shows up on your phone.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's actually augmented reality, which isn't exactly the same thing as virtual reality. It basically is, the idea of augmented reality is that it's adding something in existing reality that only exists in that virtual world, but it still incorporates the real world.
Gotcha.
I know what game you're talking about, though, and it kind of looked like garbage, to be honest.
See any difference with my health bar?
That it's giant?
The health bar is giant. Now I have like 8 levels of the devil trigger. So I can hold on, so it can stay on for a lot longer now.
Oh, you had to get a cutscene. Are we fighting a boss?
I don't know, are we?
This is supposed to be the end of the episode.
Oh, will we save her? You should tune in for the other... okay.
Will the bug lord be squished? Smashed? Stay tuned next episode.
We'll see you next time on Game Dead Play Games. Goodbye.
First, I didn't think you were saying anything. I thought you were just doing gibberish.